What's the distance between the moon and yourself? You'll probably answer in miles or kilometers, and that's cool. So, what's the distance between space and the moon? There's no distance, of course. The moon is within space, and space pervades the entire moon. Distance is a space between two objects, but between space and space, there's no distance. The sky, sun, and stars exist within consciousness. Just like the body, space also exists within consciousness. So, between consciousness and the stars, there's also no distance. You are consciousness. He is consciousness. She is consciousness. I am consciousness. How many consciousnesses are there? There's only one. All-pervading consciousness in which every object exists. Consciousness isn't limited by time. Anything that's born in time can be destroyed by time, but consciousness is beyond time. Also, since consciousness is formless, it can't be destroyed or divided into parts. There's nothing able to destroy consciousness. The authority for this comes from many places in Advaita Vedanta, but one place is in chapter 2, verses 23 to 24 of the Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna says, weapons cannot cut it, fire cannot burn it, water cannot wet it, even wind cannot dry it. It is not subject to being cut, burned, wet, or dry. It is beyond time, all-pervasive, immovable, and immutable. It is beyond time, all-pervasive, and immutable. Consciousness can be translated as Atma in Sanskrit if it is referring to I. So, I am not limited by time or space. I am Sarvagata, all-pervasive, and Nitya, free from limitation of time and space. If you've watched this video series from the very beginning, you might have realized that there is a slight narrative arc to it. If you carry on taking yourself to be the physical body, then your problems or your reasons to be sad will be legion. And I'm saying this to you with much love and compassion. It's because the body has many limitations, things that you've lost in this life, and things you've yet to acquire are in the millions. That's reason enough to be forever sad. But it's all due to this wrong idea that you're the body and mind. You fear death, and it's not a legitimate fear because you're not limited by time and space. Time and space, these are concepts that are within you consciousness. Notice we're not saying in Advaita Vedanta they don't exist. They do exist temporarily, but they are within you consciousness. This idea that you don't know what you are, it's also not legitimate because your consciousness and all knowledge, all of it is within you. So no matter what way it's looked at now, any sorrow that once seems valid is in fact invalid. For you are full and complete, limitless. Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, you are grieved over things that do not grieve or do not deserve grief. You're grieved over things that do not deserve grief. Brahman consciousness isn't subject to change, so is limitless. Anything that changes is within time, but Brahman doesn't change. This is what's meant by the Sanskrit word satya. A pot is limited by its name and form, isn't it? There was a time when the pot was not, then it was, and there will be a time when it's no more. Brahman consciousness can't be measured and it can't be defined. Consciousness has no attributes or qualities, and so has no limitation in regard to objects. We use the word Brahman when referring to the creation of the world. Atma is used in regard to any living being, though to know either Brahman or Atma is to know the other. This is because Atma is Brahman. There's a Mahavakya, a great contemplation in Sanskrit that is, I am Atma Brahman. Atma is Brahman. Nothing is outside of Brahman because Brahman is all that is. And it's here that a very important point can be made. It's a bit technical. There are 5 components to anything in the world. What you see is Namo Rupa, Sanskrit for name and form, Namo Rupa. And this varies, of course. Objects varies. But what does not vary is Sat Chit Ananda. Something exists, which is Sat in Sanskrit. It is known Chit, consciousness, and is loved Ananda, and has name and form, Namo Rupa. Sat Chit Nanda Namo Rupa. The first 3, Sat Chit Nanda, are Brahman. The last 2, Namo Rupa, are name and form, the world. You, I, are the first 3, Sat Chit Ananda. Existence, consciousness, and limitlessness. Limitless. If we look at any object, it's obvious that the first 3 are present. We can say that Ananda love even exists for all objects just because you don't love something doesn't mean another doesn't. Since Satchitananda is present in all objects, existence, consciousness, and limitlessness, It must be present in the body and mind. And here I have to tell you something extremely important. It's very, very important. Since Sat Chit Ananda, existence, consciousness, limitlessness, wholeness and completeness is present in all objects, including the body and mind, you don't need to wait for Brahman, as you are never away from Brahman. You don't transcend anything. Stop that. You should stop that. You don't need to transcend anything. Not one single thing to experience what you already are, because you already are that. You don't need to search for an experience to experience your true self, because you already are and always will be your true self, because there is only you. It's like a since you already are that, it is possible that likes and dislikes, or is it possible that likes and dislikes, happiness, pain, affect or limit you? No, they're only name and form. Though your Sat Chit Ananda, existence, consciousness, and limitless, that name and form can change, yes, but you don't change. See, there's a distinction being made. Do you become sadness because the body experiences sadness? Yeah. Well, maybe you also become the movie you're watching as well. No, you don't. So just because you witness something doesn't mean you become it, does it? You're Sat Chit Ananda, ever present and constant throughout all experience. Experiencing, yes, but free from the limit and change of experience. You're all experience, in between experience. If you look at a pot, what do you see? Well, you see a pot, of course. No, you also see its cause, clay. Pot is space-time, an object that's used for transaction, and so is limited. Brahman is all that is and isn't available for transaction or use. This is because Brahman isn't name and form. Brahman is I and name and form. It's vital to understand this I. If you don't, you take the I to be the person, and this causes suffering. Pot is name and form and is limited. Clay is formless and as such can be said to be limitless. Rob is name and form and is limited, but I, Brahman, consciousness, am formless, so I am limitless. If I take myself to be Rob, Robert, whatever, if I take myself to be this person, I'm going to have a lot of problems, because this person is a limited form and will suffer. But if I take myself to be Brahman, limitless, then this person can still have problems. The external world is the way it is, but there's no problem with having the problems. There's no drama with having drama. Because the mind knows that I really am not the person, that I am not the mind that even knows. The mind knows that I am Brahman and I'm limitless. Since I am all that is, nothing cannot change me, because even change is me. Fear is me. Sadness is me. Happiness is me. In between all of those is me. There is only me, so there's no problem with any of those. It's here that a person can begin to go with the flow. Constant contentment is what Advaita Vedanta offers. That's what going with the flow is. going with whatever the heck the flow is. Okay, namaste, guys. Thank you for watching this video clip again. As always, any questions or comments, please type in the box below or DM me, guys. And I'll see you again. What day is it? Saturday. Next week I have to study over the weekend for something here. So anyway, namaste then. Bye bye. Bye bye.